Some PvP ordeals are not realistic. As a tactical, mark 4 or more enemies with all specs? Oh, in PvP? Yeah, that's going to require a team who knows how to play together, right? I mean, that's going to require playing a team who knows how to play together. Kill 3 or more enemies with a single frag. That doesn't seem too difficult. It really depends, though. See, that's the thing. Both those stipulations kind of imply that you're playing a team that knows how to play PvP. How could we hope to do these not only just 5 times, but 30 times? What kind of bots do I need to match with to do this even once? Not a fan of Saber forcing us to play modes we don't like for the cosmetics. All right, I think, okay, there's 2 things I kind of want to touch on with this post here. Here's the thing. Killing 3 or more enemies with a single frag would be a lot easier if people played PvP like they knew what they were doing. The thing about PvP is you get a handful of players who know what they're doing, and then you get a handful of players who do not know what they're doing, and they are on the other side of the map doing their own thing, not playing with their teammates. And it seems like the PvP ordeals kind of play around teams that are actually playing together for PvP. Because killing 3 or more enemies with a single frag. Now, I played a lot of PvP, and getting 3 or more enemies with a grenade isn't that difficult, but I think, yeah, 30 times, I've definitely not been close to 30 times. I've probably done it 5 times over the course of 100 hours, and that's maybe with 3 players. I definitely got 2 players with a grenade before. I think 3 is probably too much. Maybe they should, put that down to just, killing 2 players with a grenade, any grenade. It's kind of weird that they kind of make it frags, so it's kind of odd. As a tactical, mark 4 or more enemies with the scan. See, that's not that difficult because, we do have objective team-based modes for PvP, and there should at least be a fair amount of players on the other team on the point. Getting 4 of them to kind of bunch up is kind of difficult. I should say maybe mark 3 or more enemies with scan would be a little bit better. But yeah, it seems like some people are having an issue with how grindy the PvP ordeals are. I mean, I'm excited that this does get people to return to PvP. I will be returning to PvP soon, or at least, playing here and there. I still need to try out the Tomb map, and I think that map is actually really good from what I've heard. And it's interesting, they actually added a map to make the battles more condensed, and I feel like that will help out some of these, ordeals. But that said, yeah, killing 3 or more enemies with a grenade is kind of difficult. To come across that situation, like, it would be a lot easier if you were playing against teams that were good because they would be playing around their teammates, and you could definitely find moments when they're on the point to kind of sneak in a grenade and, get some kills off of it. But, like, yeah, with how currently you will queue up to PvP, it's just, there's not enough people who know what they're doing with it. Some people are trying it out, and then some people are extra sweaty. So, I think, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think these ordeals are more appropriate for like a ranked mode or something. Interesting. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna go see what people are saying about this. Obviously, this should be adjusted because I just think it's a little bit, it's just a little bit of a high expectation for players to be able to basically kill 3 enemies with 1 grenade. That's kind of crazy. Scanning several enemies at once, okay, sure. In no world is a single frag going to kill 3 semi-competent players together. Yeah, that's true. You could just throw the grenade and then they just dodge it. That's why the shock grenade's so good, is because on impact you get the blinding effect. Yeah. And you have to do it 30 times. It's interesting. I feel like the strategy for this would be to find pretty much find a point where the team is, gathered on. Basically one of the King of the Hill points or something. And basically wait for a shock grenade to get thrown at the enemies. And then you're also using a different grenade to, you're using the frags. So it's not even like you're using a good grenade either. You gotta wait for somebody to drop the shock grenade, and then you throw your grenade to get the explosive damage from it, and yeah, hopefully you take out 3 semi-competent players. But nah, I understand. Throwing a grenade into a group of players who can see it coming, they're just going to dodge out of the way. It's practically impossible against a team who sees it coming. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I definitely thought that it would be easier to get because I think a competent team would be playing together. But then, yes, it does occur to me that if you throw the grenade directly in front of them, or, you know, if you throw the grenade when they see it coming, they're just going to dodge out of the way. You definitely would want to save the grenade for, like, a team battle or something. But then, like, even then, there's only so many maps where it would even allow you to have, like, 3 players just hang out together. Because a lot of the points are kind of wide, or at least the point that I'm thinking of, one of the maps where you have the point in the middle and it's foggy. The thing is, like, that's a big point right there. It's going to be really hard to find 3 enemies just hanging out together and then also not see your grenade coming. Yeah, it should be changed to any grenade, killing 3 enemies with any grenade, and not even like getting the elimination, but even an assist or whatever. Yeah. That definitely needs to be adjusted. Honestly, I love the idea of ordeals, but they are terribly implemented in most cases. I got enough for one category with the retroactive points, even though a lot of stuff that should have been marked as completed were not. And I got the gauntlets, and now I'm farming ops to get the 20 or something points I need for the Tyrannic War Armor. Interesting. But I probably won't get the hammer, which I really wanted because it's beautiful. Well, then you should have went for the hammer. But yeah, I do want a fair amount of these cosmetics as well, and it's definitely going to be a bit grindy. Because of a few points, and definitely won't be able to get the bolter skin. Oh, that's sad. The ordeals are extremely grindy, and on top of that, the ones for PvP are ridiculously stupid. I really wish they had a system where ordeals were repeatable, or at least you being able to resist them and do them again, so you're not forced into some BS requirement or a game mode where, or a game mode you don't even play. In my case, Eternal War. Well, okay, I agree that PvP ordeals seem way too grindy. I agree with that. I still just kind of don't really have a lot of sympathy for people who just don't want to play PvP. It's one thing if you don't like it, but, like, I don't know. just completely ignoring it because you don't like PvP games, I don't really have a lot of sympathy for. You should definitely at least try it out. But yeah, that said, if you don't like it, you know, that's that's perfectly fine. But yeah, then the problem arises when you add in these grindy PvP ordeals for players who obviously want to grind ordeals, but they just don't want to play PvP. Yeah, there probably should be something to adjust there. I just want to say the fact that we do have a handful of players who are just not interested in PvP, and then we also have a handful of players who are jumping into PvP who don't know what they're doing. It doesn't mix with some of the objectives for the ordeals. Like, you're not going to get 3 players with a grenade when 3 of the players on their team are splitting up, and then the other 3 players aren't playing together, like, or they're not even next to each other all the time. Like, you're just not going to find a good enough random team to really take advantage of their teamwork. so it's, I don't know, it's definitely a weird situation. But hey, you know what? Anything to help PvP to get some new players would be cool. The ordeals do that a little bit, but I feel like the ordeals that we have right now are a little bit intimidating. PvP is fun. PvP is actually very fun. And it's honestly the only PvP game that I really enjoy playing. I think, like, I played Black Ops 6, the team deathmatch mode when it came out, and it was actually pretty fun, but I feel like a large part of that is Nuketown, you know? And even when I play it now, I only play Nuketown, which is kind of like, there's kind of a lot of wasted content, you know, with that, because I'm only playing one mode for a game that's pretty expensive. And that's not really a optimal PvP experience. I think the PvP experience we get with Space Marine 2 is actually a little bit more approachable and a little bit more fun, to be completely honest, because I just like the look of the Space Marine more so than a $20 Call of Duty skin. You know what I mean? So yeah, and not to mention it's a first-person shooter. Call of Duty is anyway, so the skins you get aren't even that useful because you don't even see them. So I don't know. Yeah, I agree. I definitely wanted to cover this because I want to, basically shine a little bit of a light on the fact that ordeals for PvP are definitely a little bit too intimidating. I think if the ordeals were easier, we probably would have more players trying out PvP. I simply won't be touching Eternal War. If I miss out on a few cosmetics, oh well. I have zero interest in the afterthought of a PvP mode this game has. Alright, I understand PvP has some problems. I simply won't be touching Eternal War. I can't The way this is implied, it feels like they haven't played PvP at all, but then they call it an afterthought, which kind of gives me the, it kind of gives me the clue that they probably tried it and didn't like it at all, which also kind of makes me assume that they tried PvP, died a lot, and then, now they're not playing it because it's an afterthought. It's like, it's one thing to criticize the game mode because there are actual criticisms, but as soon as you even imply like any sort of salty behavior, people are just going to assume your criticism is because you're bad at it, which honestly, whatever, it is your opinion to have. And if you aren't interested in getting good at the PvP, that is definitely on you. But I just have to push back a little bit because I do think there is a unique experience with the PvP in this game that feels very classic that we don't get in games nowadays. And in fact, it feels like PvP games nowadays are just completely driven by like a battle pass or trying to sell you things, where the PvP in this game's only driven by having fun. And honestly, with gamers nowadays, that feels like a foreign concept. Like, for whatever reason, you need some sort of dopamine hit like every 5 seconds. And I feel like mobile games, since we were talking about mobile games a couple videos ago, or at least I mentioned Tacticus, which is fun. But yeah, mobile games, every 5 seconds, there's something to click on to give you some sort of point or some sort of meaningless currency that's just not very relevant outside of buying things. And it's just, it's a lot. I understand. It's a lot, and, there's a lot of people who are getting dopamine from this. So when they play a PvP mode like Space Marines 2, and they're bad at it, they don't get any dopamine, so now it's bad. See what I'm saying? So people just don't have patience to get good at a mode to understand what it has to offer anymore. It's just, it's just the way things are. But I gotta push back. Every time when I see somebody talk bad about PvP, I got 100 hours out of PvP. You can't tell me that, the time I spent on PvP was wasted because I had a lot of fun. And I'm adding time, I'm adding gameplay, and I'm adding experience to the game that I bought for full price. And I feel like a lot of people who are missing out on PvP are also dissatisfied with the state of the game, even though they already put hundreds of hours into it. And I'm just suggesting, hey, you know what? If you like challenges, go into PvP. If you don't like PvP, try to like PvP. And if you absolutely can't try to like PvP because you are losing games, you have to understand that there is something to improve there. You have to play with your teammates. I understand the matchmaking can be pretty crazy, but also the skill level of PvP in this game isn't that high. Outside of like sniper one-shot headshotting people and stuff like that. But if you're going in with a tactical and you're playing with a heavy and you just use scan on a couple of their teammates if they're on a point or something, that's huge. Because now your heavy is going to have a great time taking those players out, even if you shoot bad. You know what I mean? Even if you're shooting bad, your scan impacted that fight quite a bit, and all you did was press one button. Like, there are great parts about PvP that makes it very approachable for new PvP players. It's just some people take it a little bit personal when they do bad in a PvP game, because I feel like there is a stereotype somebody is flaming you or whatever for doing bad. And honestly, look, the afterthought of a PvP mode, okay, so that goes both ways. That means, hey, you know what, maybe PvP's a little undercooked. Maybe we need more maps or more modes or something, sure. But that also means it's not that sweaty. People don't really care if you do bad in this PvP game. They really don't. You can go out there and get 2 kills. If you enjoyed those 2 kills, hey, that's a win. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel like people just don't open up their minds enough for classic gaming, which is weird. It's honestly a very weird element of basically the online PvP gaming space at the moment. I mean, even with Elden Ring Invasions, a big part of the criticism was there was no reason to do it. Even though rune arcs are practically the strongest item in the game, people just wanted more from engaging in the PvP mode, and I don't know. I just don't know if that is the correct way to go about it. It really depends. If there's no ranked, there's really no reason to get, like, salty about PvP.